being liberal and progressive means that I care for children and whether they go hungry, color me liberal, color me Democrat.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
It's time for Democrats to grow a backbone and stand up for what we believe.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
I grew up in an America that invested in its kids and built a strong middle class that allowed millions of children to rise from poverty and establish secure lives.
We're investing in young minds today to be competitive in the global economy tomorrow.
I want to be the president who educated young children to the wonders of their world.
An America that created Social Security and Medicare so that seniors could live with dignity.
The civilization of the past 100 years, with its startling industrial changes, has tended more and more to make life insecure. Young people have come to wonder what would be their lot when they came to old age. The man with a job has wondered how long the job would last. This Social Security measure gives at least some protection to 30 million of our citizens who will reap direct benefits through unemployment compensation, through old age pensions, and through increased services for the protection of children and the prevention of ill health.
If being a Democrat means that I'm concerned about our seniors in the sunset of life, color me Democrat, color me liberal.
Do something we can be proud of. Help the weak and the meek and lift them up and help them train and give them an education where they can make their own way instead of having to live off the bounty of our generosity.
An America in which each generation built something solid so that the next generation could build something better.
No memorial oration or eulogy could more eloquently honor President Kennedy's memory than the earliest possible passage of the Civil Rights Bill for which he fought so long.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We are the party that is deeply committed to diversity. We consider every individual a valuable asset to our democracy.
Farmers and blacksmiths could win independence from an empire. If immigrants could leave behind everything they knew for a better life on our shores, if women could be dragged to jail for seeking the vote, if a generation could defeat a depression and define greatness for all time, if a young preacher could lift us to the mountaintop with his righteous dream, and if proud Americans can be who they are and boldly stand at the altar with who they love, then surely we can give everyone in this country a fair chance at that great American dream.
For me, this is a season of hope. New hope for a justice and fair prosperity for the many, and not just for the few. New hope. And this is the cause of my life. New hope. That we will break the old gridlock and guarantee that every American, north, south, east, west, young, old, will have decent, quality health care as a fundamental right and not a privilege.
The tough days our nation faced may have caused us great pain, but they must not and will not cause us to lose our hope. Hope fills the holes of my frustration in my heart. Hope inspires me to believe that any day now, we will catch up to the ideals put forth by our nation's founding fathers. Hope is the motivation that empowers the unemployed, enabling them to get out of bed every single morning with unbounded enthusiasm as they look for work. It is our hope and faith that moves us to action. It is our hope and faith that reminds us to pray and also affirms that we must move our feet. It is our hope that tells us our latter days will be better than our former. It is our hope that instructs us to march on.
We've fought to level the playing field before. About a century ago, when corrosive greed threatened our economy and our way of life, the American people came together under the leadership of Teddy Roosevelt and other progressives to bring our nation back from the brink. We started to take children out of factories and put them in schools. We began to give meaning to the words consumer protection by making food and medicine safe. And we gave the little guys a better chance to compete by preventing the big guys from rigging the markets. We turned adversity into progress because that's what we do.
The first bill that President Obama signed into law was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. I think it says something. It says something about his priorities, that the first bill he would put his name on has my name on it too. As he said that day, with me by his side, making our economy work means making sure it works for everybody.
My first job after college was as a teacher. It never even occurred to me in my fondest dreams that I might have the chance to help the sons and daughters of those students and to help people like them all over this country. But now I do have that chance, and I'll let you in on a secret. I mean to use it.
Dad's work took us all over the world until he lost his job. It was a tough time. We used up our savings, moved into a studio apartment. But our family did the responsible thing, and we rolled up our sleeves. Mom took in sewing. My 55-year-old dad kept looking for work. But at 15 years old, I was the only one with a job after school for minimum wage. Thank God for the food stamps, public education, and Pell Grants that helped me finish high school and college.
There are so many people whose lives have been transformed because of laws that were passed as part of the Great Society programs. His accomplishments in civil rights, in immigration reform,
the scholarship programs,
Job Corps,
the environment,
Medicare,
the Voting Rights Act,
the National Endowment for the Arts,
the Head Start program,
the Clean Air Act,
Medicaid,
the Higher Education Act.
2 years ago, when Paul Ryan and John Boehner and Todd Akin and the Tea Party took over the House of Representatives, they promised us they were going to create jobs and jumpstart the economy. But instead, on day one, they came after women's health, and they haven't let up since, right? So first, they voted to end cancer screenings and well women visits for 5 million women. They voted to end funding for birth control at Planned Parenthood. And for good measure, they even tried to redefine rape.
With the auto rescue, you know, he saved more than 1 million American jobs. But it wasn't just Michigan. Hey, hey, hey. It wasn't just Michigan, my friends. In Colorado, the auto rescue saved more than 9,000 jobs. In Virginia, more than 19,000 jobs. In North Carolina, 25,000 jobs. In Wisconsin, 28,000 jobs. In Pennsylvania, 34,000 jobs. In Florida, 35,000 jobs. In Ohio, 150,000 jobs. And in the great state of Michigan, 211,000 good-paying American jobs. All across America, autos are back. Manufacturing is rebounding.
One of the main reasons we ought to re-elect President Obama is that he is still committed to constructive cooperation. Look at his record. Look at his record. Look at his record. He appointed Republican secretaries of defense, the Army, and transportation. He appointed a vice president who ran against him in 2008. And he trusted that vice president to oversee the successful end of the war in Iraq and the implementation of the Recovery Act. And Joe Biden did a great job with both. President Obama appointed several members of his cabinet, even though they supported Hillary in the primary. Heck, he even appointed Hillary. When things hung in the balance, I mean literally hung in the balance, the president understood this was about a lot more than the automobile industry. This was about restoring America's pride. He understood in his gut what it would mean to leave 1 million people without hope or work if he didn't act. And he intuitively understood the message it would have sent around the world if the United States gave up on an industry that helped put America on the map in the first place.
Over the next few years, big decisions will be made in Washington on jobs, the economy, taxes and deficits, energy, education, war and peace. Decisions that will have a huge impact on our lives and on our children's lives for decades to come. And on every issue, the choice you face won't just be between two candidates or two parties. It will be a choice between two different paths for America, a choice between two fundamentally different visions for the future. Ours is a fight to restore the values that built the largest middle class and the strongest economy the world has ever known. The values my grandfather defended as a soldier in Patton's army. The values that drove my grandmother to work on a bomber assembly line while he was gone. They knew they were part of something larger. A nation that triumphed over fascism and depression. A nation where the most innovative businesses turned out the world's best products, and everyone shared in that pride and success, from the corner office to the factory floor. My grandparents were given the chance to go to college, buy their own home, and fulfill the basic bargain at the heart of America's story. The promise that hard work will pay off, that responsibility will be rewarded, that everyone gets a fair shot, and everyone does their fair share, and everyone plays by the same rules, from Main Street to Wall Street to Washington, D.C.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for